Hi everyone, Avinda Ruby with Ellis Porter. Today I'm going to be joined by June with Corporate Lab. We're going to be talking about updates to the Malaysian immigration system as a result of the coronavirus. So we're going to go over what's happening with the borders, how visitors are handled, temporary work permits, permanent residency, and a little bit of compliance. And then at the end, June's going to share some top tips with us. So June, I'll pass it over to you to introduce yourself, and then we're going to just quickly discuss some of the things that are going on in Malaysia right now in terms of how, whether there's a lockdown and how that's being handled. So over to you, June.
Thank you, Arvinda. It's very nice to see you again and speak with you. So we're talking about immigration specifically in Malaysia at the moment, right? So yep. with the COVID, I think a lot of countries have been impacted, and Malaysia is no different. Malaysia started the movement control order back on 18th of March 2020, and it has been extended 4 times. 4 times, just when we think it's about to end, it keeps extending. And then the last one, or rather, it's supposed to end on the 9th of June. But we'll have to wait and see if it's going to be extended again or it will be completely lifted. But from an immigration perspective right now, or rather on the travels of the impact on traveling right now, the borders are still closed right now. Okay. And only certain categories of people can enter Malaysia. They are, of course, Malaysians can enter right now, and also spouses and children of Malaysian citizens and Malaysian PRs. Okay. So these are the people who can enter Malaysia right now, but effective 1st of June, before you enter Malaysia, you will need to go to the Malaysian embassy. I think they're going to do something online right now. I'm not sure the details yet, but every individual will have to sign a letter of understanding. They call it an LOU. So basically this LOU wants to, they want to kind of lock down the person that you agree to pay for the quarantine cost when you arrive in Malaysia.
Wow.
Yeah, because before that, before the 1st of June, I think a lot of the cost was covered by the government, and then now they want to, they need to start putting back the cost onto the individual. And the cost is about 150 ringgit per day, which is works out to about USD $38 a day. Okay. So for foreigners, they have to pay the full amount, but for Malaysians, they have to pay half of that. Okay. So this for effective 1st of June. And then the last category of people who are allowed to enter are the Malaysia My Second Home individuals. This is a special visa for retirees, or people who want to make Malaysia their second home. So they were allowed to come back to Malaysia on the 17th of May. But it's not automatic. It doesn't mean you have the visa, you can just get a ticket and fly into Malaysia. You still need to go to the Malaysian embassy, get some sort of approval, because they want to see where you're coming from. Is it a high-risk country, or things like that. But whatever it is, the minute you enter Malaysia, there's that mandatory health screening and also the 14-day quarantine.
Okay. Are there any countries that have been carved out as high risk by the Malaysian government?
Right now, no. Interestingly enough, before the lockdown was announced, before the 18th, they selected a few countries like, China. China was in the list, and only the affected area, Wuhan, Hubei area, right? And then South Korea was on the list. Italy, Japan, and Iran, they were on the list because back then they were the top. I think they had the most numbers back then, Yeah. So right now, as you can see, within 1-2 months, we can see the major changes that's happening globally. And I think after the 9th of June, we don't know which country may be selected as, a very high-risk countries. US, of course, is the highest right now, but we don't know how they're going to tackle that part also.
And it's moving so quickly, so by 9th of June, everything may look a little bit differently. Okay, so let's move into visitors. So if you're in Malaysia now and you can't leave, how are visitors being treated? Is there automatic extensions, or what should a visitor be doing?
Okay, right now we call them social visit pass holders. Basically, you're either a business visitor or you're a tourist. If your pass expired, basically the government has been, I think they've been pretty kind to allow it's a sort of a blanket extension of 14 days after the lockdown for you to leave the country without having to do anything.
Okay.
So you don't have to apply for a special pass, you don't have to go to the immigration office to get paper stamps or files or anything. As long as after the MCO or lockdown period on the 9th of June, they give you 14 days to get out of the country with no questions asked. So that's a good thing. But for some people who feel that they may struggle to still meet, they cannot leave on the after 14 days, right? Or within 14 days because of flight tickets, or they still have that fear that it's not safe to travel. Yes, they have the option to try and extend that social pass. Now, doing that pass, personally, I will not recommend it too much because it's very tedious and you cannot farm it out to someone to do it. You have to do it yourself.
Okay.
As the applicant. You have to physically go there. You have to make an appointment, get the app, and then try like 3-4 times to get an appointment on the app, and go there and do the screening, and then you have to bring all your documents and papers, and you also have to bring a flight ticket to show that you have the intention to eventually leave Malaysia. So for example, if you're a UK passport holder, technically, or when you come in, you normally get 90 days visa, right? So if you want to extend, you can extend up to 90 days, but they may not give you the full 90 days, right? They may give you only one. Very discretionary, and also you must have very good reasons. You have to show proof that I couldn't get a flight out, or my flights was cancelled, or I'm unwell to travel. I mean, it has to be good justifications, because otherwise everyone will be trying to extend, for no reason, because they've been comfortably staying here since March, for example, So basically, anyone who has had their pass expired, the social pass expired from the 1st of January 2020 till after the 9th of June, you are free to leave within the 14 days. So it's quite a good window, I would say,
right,
for you to go without penalties, without any blacklist, nothing.
Okay, very good. Now let's jump into temporary workers. So if you're currently in Malaysia and you're a temporary worker, first of all, let's talk about extensions. When should you be filing an extension? Can you do that? Is there automatic extensions? How does that look right now?
Okay, for extensions, I wish there were automatic extensions, but no. If you're currently holding a work permit, you could not file anything up till recently. On the 4th of May, the government announced a conditional movement control order where they allow businesses to operate, then they allow certain people, like even the ministry started to reopen, right? All the immigration offices have opened. So basically, they're all open right now, but they're all running only on appointment basis. So no longer any walk-ins. You have to make an appointment before you can submit anything. So with that in mind, it has kind of impacted the way things are being done for work permit per se, right? So now renewals can be done only if the applicant is in country. In Malaysia right now. If they are outside of Malaysia and they want to renew their work permit, they cannot do that at the moment because they're not here. So the priority that immigration is giving is for people who are in Malaysia, I guess, to keep them legal and compliant as much as possible.
Right.
And for any new applications, at the moment is on hold until after the 9th of June.
Okay. Now let's talk about amendments. If there's changes to a foreign worker's terms and conditions, so maybe a reduction in salary, maybe a change in the work site, do those have to be reported to the Malaysian immigration authorities? And if so, how's that done? Okay.
For any reduction in salary, wages, or stuff like that, they are not governed by the immigration department. So that will be governed by the Ministry of Human Resources or the Department of Labour in the local council. So basically, every company, if you intend to do a pay cut on your staff, right, you have to notify the Department of Labour where your office is located. So I would say every council or jurisdiction will have your own Department of Labour. So the company has to inform them 1 month before they can do the pay cut on the employee. So in immigration, you don't have to report this to immigration at all. Even on the working hours, for example, we're talking about staggered working hours, or you work from home. Immigration does not need to know all that.
Okay.
And also the Department of Labor will only want you to report into them for the pay cut. It is not even an approval, it's just notifying them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, in the unfortunate circumstances, somebody loses their job, is terminated, do they have a grace period in which they can remain in Malaysia to find another job or change status, or do they need to leave immediately?
No, they don't have to leave immediately. If someone gets terminated, when the current employer, if they cancel the work permit, they do have a maximum 30 days grace period for the ex-employee to continue to stay on in Malaysia. Now, this 30 days maximum is given by the immigration, but only if the employer wants to award this 30 days to the employee. Because some companies, they may say, okay, I'm ending your contract on the 31st of May. That's it. I'm not giving you any extra days to, to pack up or to find something else. So I think it depends a lot on the relationship with your employer. But by regulations, they do have that 30 days. If they want to make use of it, they can, and they can discuss that with their employer. Yeah, okay. And then and for a change of company too, so far we have seen that immigration has been accepting applications for change of companies, because I think they look at it as you are still in Malaysia, right? It's not, I mean, it is a new application, but you are here, you are still here, you're just switching to another employer. So far they've been processing those kinds of applications.
Good. Now let's switch into permanent residency. How has the permanent residency program been impacted by the pandemic?
Oh, okay. For Malaysia, PR applications are not very, I wouldn't say, it's not as common as, say, in Singapore, where it's a lot straightforward and it's a bit easier to get than in Malaysia. I would say in Malaysia, it's not very easy to get PR status. And to get that also, again, it's a personal application. It cannot be farmed out to a third party. And as I know, I have very little experience in PR applications, but from talking to my own personal friends, some of them have been in Malaysia for more than 10 years and they're still struggling and applying for their PR, although they're already married to Malaysians and all that. So sometimes it's a bit of, I don't know, it could be a bit of luck and also relationships, and it's also time. There's a lot of time involved to get a PR from Malaysia. So okay. Residency permits in Malaysia, it's not a separate thing. Unlike like China, right? China, you have a work permit and a residence permit, and so does Vietnam, right? But for Malaysia, once you get a work permit, it also serves as your residence permit. You can also, remain in Malaysia as long as your work permit is valid. Okay,
very good. One part that's really important during this, and it's been a common theme throughout all of the videos that I've done, is compliance still continues to remain important. What would be some of the top compliance aspects that you would be encouraging clients or other professionals to really take into consideration during this time?
Well, I would say there's no change to compliance. That should never change during this time. There may be, I won't lie, of course there are going to be gray areas, because people will ask, okay, June, my pass expired during the lockdown, during the MCO. Can I still work? Because I can't renew. That's a really good question, right? Because I cannot renew, but I'm stuck in Malaysia. My pass has expired. Can I actually work? So of course, because there's such a gray area, and I don't think anyone would give you a straight up answer to, of course, please freely work, or don't work. Because how can a company keep them employed and they don't contribute or work? So that is a really gray area. And if you want to be very, very technical, of course, if your permit is not renewed, you don't have an actual endorsement on your passport, you should not work, right? That is the clear-cut black and white answer. But when you look at the reality and the practical side of things, sometimes it's hard to say.
Right.
You can't be telling the guy not to work for a month, because everybody's hands are tied. We can't submit anything, and it's not that the company doesn't want to be compliant. They can't at that point in time, And immigration, interestingly enough, they also did not come up with to address this issue. I think it will not be addressed anyways. It's already it's already in place now. The renewals can happen, you know. So I think that period is something that it has passed, and they're not going to go back and look for people who broke the law back then, you know. That's my personal opinion. I don't think they will do that.
Okay, yeah. Very good. So now let's move into some top tips. What would you be letting your clients or HR, immigration, or global mobility professionals know to focus on? What would be your top tips during this time?
Okay, that's interesting. I guess pre-COVID and post-COVID or during COVID, planning is something that can never be avoided, right? Planning ahead, with or without the COVID, we have to plan, right? So I feel that HR should continue to plan, although it won't be easy, but I think they have to continue to be very open-minded, adaptive, very patient, flexible, because really things can just change within a day or two. I mean, look at all the policies that come up, even in Malaysia, when the minister announces policy A and then maybe tomorrow they change the policy again. So it's about being flexible in that sense. But the main crux of it all, like applying for work permits, dependent permits, or any sort of residency permits in Malaysia, the criteria, the requirements, they all remain the same. There's no change there at all. You know, so if you still need to have minimum 5 years experience or with this degree, that still maintains. There's no change there. So the only change right now is the way things are being done, I would say. So in that sense, I think it's more of being flexible with timing and going with the flow right now. Because I give you a quick example, like the person's pass is going to expire, let's say on the 1st of June, right? But immigration just renewed it a week ago. So we have a 1 week window to endorse his work permit in the passport. But in that 1 week, immigration had no more time slots for the appointment. So I couldn't book a slot in that 1 week. You know, so in that 1 week, we couldn't do anything. And come 1st of June or 2nd of June, I'm very certain that immigration will not penalize this individual. You know, in fact, maybe they will give you a special pass and then keep you legal while they give you the work permit endorsement. So, you know, so in that sense, companies need to be flexible and maybe not panic too much, because, you know, when things are out of everybody's control, then they have to just, I guess, be patient and not panic, I would say.
Yeah, that's really good guidance there. Well, June, we're going to wrap it up now. Thank you so much for sharing that information. I know this is going to be really valuable guidance. If anyone has case-specific questions or needs further information, what's the best way to reach out to you?
You can reach out to me on email. And I'm sorry, actually, Arvinda, I forgot. In the beginning, I was so excited to jump into our conversation. I forgot to introduce myself, or rather my background. Maybe I'll do that for about a minute, if that's fine.
Of course, please do.
So as Arvinda said, I'm with the corporate lab right now, but I've been in the immigration space for about 19 years. So out of which I was with a Big Four for 9 years, and then with a multinational relocation company for 7 years doing immigration in the APAC region. So that's I've been doing that quite a long time. And then after about three to 4 years ago, I decided to come up and do my own business. So now with some partners, we've set up the corporate lab. So if anyone has any questions on immigration in Malaysia, you can reach out to me on email. Arvinda, will you be able to share that email on the link or something?
Yep, you can find it in the comments. We'll add it into the comments below the video.
Great, thank you for that.
Okay, well, thank you again so much for joining. If you like this video, please subscribe, and also please like, and if you have questions, please comment on there. But thank you so much, June.
Thank you, Arvinda. Thank you, bye.
Bye.